All right. Hello, everybody. It's Cheryl Ann. See you guys dropping in there. It's nice to see you. I can't actually see you. It's nice to see your names joining me. That's fun. Hey, do this for me while we go ahead and get started, and I have to open up a couple of documents. There is a chat button at the bottom of your screen, especially if you're in a desktop environment. And drop a note in chat. Let me know a couple things. One, that the audio is working great, which is always a little worry. You like to know that's working. And then two, that you, like where you're calling in from. Wendy, thank you. That's a nice way to start the webinar. Drop in just a note that says, hey, this is where I'm calling in from. Thank you for the audio reassurance. Awesome, awesome. So very nice to have you here. We have a lot of people registered for today. Like I think we have several hundred of you who are registered. Hopefully a lot of you will be able to join live. You guys are so sweet about the necklace. Thank you. I think this is Bobble Bar. It's been a while. I can't quite remember, but I think that's where it's from. Wyoming, how fun. Georgia, Granville, Ohio, Tennessee, Anaheim, California, Maryland. You guys, this is great. If you want to be able to chat along today, select the little button that says all panelists and attendees. So if it just says all panelists, I will see your comments, but the rest of the people on the call will not. So if you pick all panelists and attendees, then anything that you are chatting along today, which is, we really encourage you to do, everyone will be able to hear or to read along with, okay? I am rolling solo today in terms of monitoring the webinar. So a lot of the time when I do these, I will bring an assistant from my team with me who can kind of monitor the chat. You just have me today. So bear with me when I go into the actual presentation, which I'm going to do in just a minute here. I will not be able to monitor chat as effectively. And then I will come back sort of toward the end and we can check in at that point. So, oh no, you're at the hospital with your child. Oh, good luck. That makes me very nervous, Jamise, but I am absolutely humbled that you are here with us. So we are recording today, and if you need to get this later, we will make sure that you get the replay link as well. So for those of you here for the live experience, so stoked to have you here. This is one of my favorite things I get to do, is teach you the 3 keys to unlock your full potential. This is honestly the very best training that we have right now. So if you have never had a chance to participate in this, and sometimes we do have this out through Facebook advertising or whatever, if you've seen it already, there is nothing new today in the training. We are going through the 3 keys to unlocking your full potential. This is a sequenced process that we have proven through our breakthrough program and all the women we've worked with there. And I will tell you, this thing really works. So it's taken us a few years to arrive at this model. And now like we have it and it's really dialed in. And I'm so stoked to get the chance to share it with you. So without further ado, I am going to get into the content. I'm going to share some slides with you today. And we are going to start that now. So let me share my screen. And I got to find exactly the right file. Here we go. I make myself tiny. And I'm going to get into the first slide. Give me 1 second to make this button go away. There we go. That is what I need. Okay, so hopefully that is working great for everybody and you can see what you need to see on the screen. You should be looking at a slide that says from busy or burned out to brilliantly balanced. Learn the 3 keys to take control of your calendar, get connected to your dreams so you can finally live up to your potential. And that is exactly what we're here to teach you today. This is everything that you need to get your wheels in motion with really clear direction, higher productivity, and more purpose, right? Who wants that? Chat along with me if that is something that sounds like a good idea to you. So listen, here's the thing. If you are wondering like why you should stick around, right? And you have a lot of things you could be doing today, and I am well aware of that. So if you are wondering like, what is really my incentive for staying? Let me just tell you, this is a game-changing training, right? We have had 20,000 women learn from these strategies and start to apply them in their lives and get real change. We've had 10,000 women leverage our Brilliant Balance systems in one way, shape, or form and get even higher levels of impact in their life. And I want you to know you can count on me today. I am a realist. I was saying this to Holly on our team today, that, I'm not interested in teaching you like pie in the sky ideas that don't really work. I will be 100% honest with you about what it takes to get the results that I'm going to share inside the webinar today. And honestly, here's what I believe. If you can't take an hour for yourself to do something that you know is valuable, then are you really living the life you want? Maybe you need this more than anyone. So I know you're busy though, and I want to give you a really good incentive for staying. This is an incredible piece of training that I am giving away for free. So at the end of the webinar, I'm going to give you the link to our rebalancing toolkit. And this really is designed to help you reclaim an hour a day at least to use on whatever it is that you want. And who doesn't want more time, right? If we can really teach you how to get an hour a day back by leveraging these strategies, you want to make sure you get that. And we're going to give you the link to do that at the end of the training today. Okay. So who is today for? Let's make sure you're in the right place. If you're not, you will not hurt my feelings if you decide to drop off. This is for you if you are someone who is spinning your wheels or you are running in circles. If you are just not where you thought you would be at this point in your life, like you thought you were further along, right? You've been so busy doing that you really don't have any time to think about what you're doing. If you have been feeling, maybe frustrated by how disorganized or scattered you are, like I used to have it all together and now I'm feeling like I'm just disorganized and scattered. Sometimes you might be feeling like you're in a career that just isn't a good fit anymore, but you're not sure how to get somewhere else. And so you're kind of wondering, what am I supposed to do next? And very often you'll be feeling like my life is pretty good and I'm afraid to give up something that's good to get to something great. Like I don't want to give up the known to get to the possibility of something that's even better. And sometimes you'll feel like you're worried that you really are not going to be able to make your dreams a reality without breaking your life. Like you're going to upset the apple cart if you change one thing too many. And so you're just staying stuck where you are because you don't want to take that risk of moving on to something better. Okay. That is if you resonate with any of these statements, you are in exactly the right place today. So who is this not for? Well, it is not for you if you already feel like everything is perfect in your current life. If there's really nothing left that you want to change, like you're feeling pretty good about things the way they are, you're not in the right place. And also, if you're not willing to try new things to get a different outcome. Some of us are just really dug in. And even though our life is not the way we want it to be, we are just not willing to try a different way of doing things. And so that's going to make it really hard for us to help you. Also, if you have a belief that there is nothing you can do to change your current circumstances, if life is kind of happening to you and you feel like you don't have any degree of freedom to make changes, it's not going to work. And also, probably the final thing is if you're not willing to invest, time and money and energy in really getting to your true potential, like if you just want to dabble and learn, but you don't really want to invest to make change, it's probably not for you today. So just be honest with yourself about that and make sure you're in the right place before you invest this hour. Okay, let's talk about balance. Here's how I think about balance. This is the visual image that I get when I think about balance. Because the truth is, this is not your mother's work-life balance, right? This is not two equally balanced scales with work on one side and, your family on the other that you're keeping in this perfect, precarious balance. It's just not how the world works today. I think the kind of balance that I'm talking about, what we're teaching is balance for a new generation. It's a much more dynamic, fluid sense of staying on your toes. And so that's why I love these Misty Copeland images, because they really evoke that for me. Here's the data. Among Gen X, Gen Y, and millennial women, more than 70% of us are working, right? Working outside the home. And mothers are, in fact, the primary or the sole earners in 40% of households with children under 18. And if you go back and look at that same statistic in 1960, it was only 11%. So we've gone from 11 to 40% of households really being, having women as the primary or the sole breadwinners. And I think what that does, if we're honest with ourselves, is it adds pressure to perform. The work is everywhere, right? It is never more than an arm's reach away because of this little toy that we all walk around with, right? That phone is so omnipresent that our work is going home with us. In some cases, it's going to bed with us. In some cases, it's in the car with us, right? We never are getting away from the demands of work because of the changes in technology. And our lives are getting more spread out. So I know if your life looks like mine, I'm driving my kids sometimes to activities that are 20, 30, 40 minutes away each way, to get them involved in the passions that they want to pursue. And so as our children's lives are expanding and our recreational activities are no longer centered right around home or school, everything is taking longer time, more time. So we have kind of these competing demands of our home lives are more complex and our work lives are more 24/7. And that's kind of squishing us into the middle. And I'm going to tell you, I understand this all too well because this really was me not too long ago. I mean, honestly, it about took me under. So I want to back up a bit in case you don't really know my story. Her mug, by the way, says, "I'm a lot cooler on the internet." That's what the mug says. And I love that quote. So I'm going to back up a bit and tell you a bit about my story so that you've got a good sense of where I'm coming from as I share this with you today. So the way I always start this is, basically I was a rock star before I had kids, and you probably were too, right? I had just great opportunities. I went to a great college. I graduated with honors. I had landed an amazing job coming out of school that gave me the opportunity to travel the world. I climbed that corporate ladder. I got my MBA. I did all kinds of things outside of work. I ran marathons. I volunteered a lot. And then along the journey, I bought a house, I got married, and I started to have children. And everything was in order. I had this overflow capacity to manage whatever came my way. And then I had 3 kids. And when I added the demands and the pressures of those 3 kids, it was like every single thing in my life became more challenging. Just something simple like making a meal was an Olympic event. I had kids hanging off of every limb, and, getting to the grocery store required support. Workouts got cut back or eliminated. Traveling for work was like I needed a whole support team at home to be able to make that happen. And I had to leave them very detailed instructions about what to do in my absence. And things like volunteering started to feel like a chore instead of feeling like a joy. And it was a really intense transition to a new normal. So before we go any further, though, let me assure you, this does have a happy ending. Like I promise, we're going somewhere with this whole backstory. And I want to tell you a little bit about what my life looks like today. I founded my company, Brilliant Balance, back in 2010. And at Brilliant Balance, here's our core belief. We believe that every woman should fulfill her highest potential. And our job is to help you remove any obstacles that are in your way, whether they are real or whether they are imagined. Because I think if we're honest with ourselves, a lot of the obstacles in our way are right up here. So to do that, I advise high impact women through my personal development programs, some of which we're going to talk a little bit about today. I host the Brilliant Balance podcast. How many of you are past listeners who are joining us today? The Brilliant Balance podcast comes out every Tuesday. I do a lot of speaking with companies and organizations that care about the advancement of women. And I'm actually a 2-time entrepreneur. I spent 15 years at Procter & Gamble and then started my first company before evolving it to the company I run today at Brilliant Balance. I've been married for 18 years to my husband, John, and we have 3 kids. Of our own, 2 girls and a boy. This is a little bit of what life looks like today. And I always say, anytime you see us in formal wear, that was probably my idea. Anytime you see us in a Jeep with the top down, that was probably my husband's idea. That's kind of the duality in our household. My life today is really shaped by 4 priorities. It's my family, my faith, my company, you see our original offices here, and my own well-being. That's really like what's governing my life. And living up to my potential looks like growing the company that I founded and supporting the team really well there, building generously into the community where I live, chasing dreams with my husband, raising 3 strong children to be independent on their own, right? And living with that thriving sense of health and well-being, all guided by my faith. And I have to tell you, it is an exciting and a fulfilling and a very full life. And I want you to imagine today what your life would look like. What would it look like for you if you woke up every day feeling energized about what you got to do that day? What would it look like if you had time for all the things that mattered, for your work, for your family, and for yourself? And what if you had a set of daily practices that really kept you grounded and fulfilled as you moved through that day? And if you felt like you were moving your life towards something that really mattered to you, and if you were unequivocally confident that you could live up to your full potential, what would that be like? Well, that's what we want to deliver. Today's journey is about taking you from potentially busy or burned out to brilliantly balanced. You ready to do that? All right, let's make it happen. There are kind of 3 potential states that you might find yourself living in. And so before we figure out where we're taking you, I want you to be able to identify which one of these camps really fits it for you. Give me 1 second, because I'm having an issue with my slide. Hold on. All right, I think I'm good. First camp that you could be in, and you're going to pick which one of these 3 is the most you. Are you busy, right? Are you spinning your wheels where you just feel like your day-to-day life, you're always busy, but you're not really ever getting anywhere? Or maybe do you feel like you have lots of ideas about what you want to do, but you just can't get out of the starting gates? Like you're ideating all the time, but you're not actually getting anywhere. Or maybe you're someone who's running from work to kids' activities, to errands, to bed, and you're just not able to take any breaks. And sometimes you hear yourself saying, if I could just get a little time to think, like it would be such a game changer. And do you feel stuck because you feel like busy is just going to be a way of life for you? Okay, that's the first camp you could be in, is busy. Second state you might find yourself in, and this one requires a little thinking sometimes, is you might actually feel a little bored. So this is if you feel like you're not where you thought you'd be by now. Or you feel like there has to be something more, but you just don't know what it is. Like you're going to work and you're going through the motions, but you're doing it with your eyes closed because life's become kind of meh. Right? And you're not very happy and you're not very fulfilled and you're feeling pretty stuck. And you're starting to worry that you might look back with regret. You might get to your life 10 years from now, 15 years from now, and think like, I didn't do it. I didn't do the thing I really meant to do. That we're going to classify as bored. Okay. And the third thing you might be feeling is burned out. And burned out is where you feel like work is taking everything you have and then some. Do you maybe feel like you're grinding your gears at work? Like you lie awake at night wondering, how am I going to grow anymore without breaking my life? Whether that's you're working in a company or you're working as an entrepreneur. And are you feeling like I'm doing all this work, but it's not returning what I wanted it to? I'm still not putting enough money in the bank. And maybe if I could just hire some help, I could get some things on track. But I'm worried that I'm going to keep playing small and safe because I can't get any bigger and I might never reach full potential. And if you're starting to fantasize about like shutting it all down and walking away, that's a good symptom that you're feeling burned out. So we're going to take a quick poll here. And I want you to tell me which one of those statements you most identify with. Is it A, busy? Is it B, bored? Is it C, burned out? Or is it D, all of the above? So chat along so we can kind of see where you are in this journey. Are you A, B, C, or D? Let's give you guys a second to drop those responses in. Yes. It's always interesting to me how this splits out, right, within any given group. It's always a little bit different, but the patterns are there for you to see of what does that split look like, among the people who are on today. The good news is all of these are actually solvable problems. Okay. And I think it's time that we say enough is enough. Like ever when it is, enough is enough. It doesn't have to be this way. And that's what we're going to teach you. So starting today, you will feel clear and confident, right? Starting today, you will be organized and in control of your calendar. So you'll learn how to line up your time with your priorities so you can focus on the things you really want, which if I'm using my crystal ball would be relationships, self-care, time for yourself, time for your work, time for your family, so you can have that sense of peace and calm. So you can feel fulfilled because you're living out your purpose and ultimately be growing toward your full and your highest potential. That's really the vision that we want to cast for you. So let's get into this. And the first thing I'm going to share here is the original model for Brilliant Balance. And this actually started as a drawing on a piece of scrap paper in my office that ultimately our designer turned into something beautiful. So you're going to see that evolution happen here. The drawing really is like the proverbial napkin drawing. There it is, right? It's handwritten, it's just scratched out, and we turned it into something pretty. But these are the elements that we're going to walk through today. We're going to talk about how power, productivity, purpose, possibility, people, and potential all link together. All these P words, right? I think I have a thing for alliteration. You should see the names of our programs inside of Brilliant Balance, which all start with the letter B. But these P words today really, they work together to kind of push you or nudge you toward your highest potential. And so that's what we're going to unpack today. So next set of questions is, have you ever found yourself hitting snooze over and over again instead of getting out of bed in the morning? You know, have any of you ever had that experience? Or maybe you've felt foggy or sluggish, like well into the morning, maybe until you've had several cups of coffee. Or have you ever hit that midday slump and then struggled to get your groove back? Or I heard this actually this morning in a call. Have you ever fallen asleep on the couch with your laptop on your lap, you know, and then had to stumble up to bed in the middle of the night? Well, if you've had any of those experiences, you're going to need the first key to brilliant balance. And the first key is that brilliantly balanced women have a power source. Okay, a power source is a set of practices that you do regularly that allow you to feel grounded and energized and inspired. Okay, that's what a power source is. So let's get into how you find one. When you're not powered up, that's when you feel, run down or flat out exhausted. You feel like you're running on empty. You might find that you're short-tempered or you're cranky with the people around you, or it might show up for you as like you're foggy or you're cloudy and you can't quite think straight. So the power source is what keeps you grounded and clear. It's like rejuvenating and restoring you, right? It gives you that sense of joyfulness, and it's what lets you be fully present. Now, you might not have ever thought about it that way, but your power source, when you're fully powered up, that's what gives you the ability to be fully present in the moment. So here's how you get there. You want to take care of the big three, all right? It's your physical, mental, and emotional well-being. So physically, this is things like making sure you get enough sleep. All right. I am telling you right now, if you are getting less than 7 or 8 hours, unless you are some kind of a, robot powered by AI, it is unlikely that you are sufficiently rested. So even with running a business, raising 3 children, being married, working out, all the things I'm telling you I fit into my life, I still prioritize getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep. It is absolutely 100% possible. In fact, it's imperative. Other things like water, food, movement, these all fit into taking care of your physical well-being. And in the mental camp of well-being, it might be things like mindset work, because how draining is it when you have the wrong mindset? When you have a thought pattern that's a limiting belief running through your head, it's like siphoning energy off, right? And self-care, whatever that looks like to you mentally. For me, one of the really big things is time alone. So being able to have some time every day where nobody needs me is very restorative. It's one of my foundational balance practices. Emotionally, it's things like relationships and your spirituality and your faith life, all of those things. Taking good care of these is what lets you live your life really plugged into and connected to your power source. Okay. When you do this well, you get amazing results. So I'm going to share with you a few examples. I think there's maybe 5 or 10 of these that are from women who have worked with us inside of Brilliant Balance. All of these women went through a program called Breakthrough. And this is what happens when we start to drop these pieces of the puzzle in place. Okay, so this is Heather. Heather was on vacation for 9 days. Yay, right? Taking a 9-day vacation is amazing. And she also dedicated a little bit of time on vacation to get her weekly plan in place, which is one of her foundational balance practices. So she came back, great night of sleep on Sunday night, plan in place, and she's feeling amazing, right? That's what it looks like to have this in rhythm. This is Karen. Karen was saying, I learned so much by taking the time to enjoy the moment and not rush, right? Dropping in, settling into the moment is one of these things that connects you to your power source. Being connected to her little guy and sharing her love of theater and music with him, that's one of the things that lights Karen, right? That's a great example of being connected to your energy source. This is Carrie. Carrie came into the program not really doing a lot of physical activity and decided to run a triathlon. So at this point, she was 2 weeks into her triathlon training. I'm happy to say she has already completed that triathlon and a second one. So she's really caught the bug, but it was one of those things that like clicked into place for her of this will really help me feel fully energized. And this is Christy. Christy's an entrepreneur in North Carolina, and one of her experiences was that she went to a yoga class, scheduled some time off for herself, first of all, and then took a yoga class and really loved it. And then went to the pool and played with the kids in the pool, right? So again, examples of being fully in the moment, stepping away from work to get recharged, and then going back in to tackle that weekly plan. And this is Christy. Christy was telling the story here about getting more sleep. So not to 8 hours yet, but working up toward it and drinking 64 ounces of water. And look at the result. I didn't have to take over-the-counter meds for anything this week, which feels awesome, right? So literally, like we don't even come into this saying, hey, we're going to get you off your medications, but just basic practices around sleep and hydration often have dramatic effects in how you feel. This is Jennifer, who took a glorious week in Florida with her family and didn't check her work email even one time, which was, again, the ability to get away and get recharged before coming back to work. And I am not going to go through every single one of these examples today, but as I click through them, what I want you to see as the theme is that for none of these women was it super easy to like flip that switch. They had to identify what were the practices that really put them in connection with their power source, and they had to experience for themselves the benefits on the other side. So when you control your power source, you control your day, and that's a really powerful state to live in. So let me ask you this. What is your most important power source, right? Type it into the chat. Is it sleep, A, B, water? Is it C, healthy food, D, exercise, E, time with friends, or F, quiet time? Which one of those is your most important? By the way, G, other, and tell me what it is. If you have a practice that is really foundational to you feeling fully energized, tell us what it is in chat, because I love to get new ideas of what people are trying and what you've already adopted as a regular habit. These are great. These are great. Keep them coming. Drop them in if you haven't answered. Yeah, good. These are good, you guys. I always love to see the answers that come in. All right, let's keep rolling here. So that is all about your power source, okay? And the first key to brilliant balance is connecting to your power source. Next set of questions. Have you ever experienced any of these things? Have you ever looked at your to-do list and just felt totally overwhelmed? Right? Or do you ever go into the week without actually having a plan? And then you kind of flounder around trying to decide what is it that I'm supposed to do first, right? Or do you ever make a plan but then not actually stick to it? And you kind of never feel like you have enough time to get everything done. Well, if you've had those experiences, you're going to need the second key to brilliant balance, and that is that brilliantly balanced women are productive. Okay, and if you've had those issues that I was just describing, you're probably lamenting that you're not productive enough. You're probably walking around saying, I just have to figure out how to get more done. Okay, so how would it feel to wake up every morning and have a really clear plan for the day and then actually do it? Right? What would it feel like to stay focused throughout the day on what you meant to do and say no gracefully and without guilt to the things that kind of pop onto your plate that are not your priorities? And what would it feel like to go to bed at night feeling accomplished, feeling a real sense of accomplishment? Well, this is what we mean by productivity. It's the state that brilliantly balanced women achieve by living with intention and integrity, so you can always feel accomplished and on top of things, right? And I'll tell you what, it is where you want to be. So let's talk a little bit about this intention and integrity cycle. Because when you're not productive, you feel like you're never making a dent in your to-do list. Like it feels like it's getting longer over time instead of getting shorter, right? And you wonder, like, where did the time go? How is it 4:00 already? How is it 5:00 already? You don't know where the time has gone. And you're beating yourself up for not getting enough done. And you feel stuck because you know what you need to do, but you can't seem to get it in gear, right? Here's how you boost productivity. This is my nerdy equation of productivity is intention times integrity. Okay, P equals I squared. So when you do this, you want to set a very clear intention for your week. If you want to be productive, it starts with having a very clear intention for the week, which means you have to make choices about what you will and will not do. And you have to relentlessly prioritize those choices, which means you're going to be scheduling your tasks. And we say this a lot around here: what gets scheduled gets done. And I cannot emphasize that sentence a lot. Like, in fact, tattoo that sentence on your forehead. What gets scheduled gets done. That alone is worth the price of admission today, right? You can make a lot of progress with that statement. But the second piece of this is, once you have your plan, you have to execute that plan with integrity. So this is about staying focused. It's about keeping your commitment to yourself, adjusting your results, like assessing your results and then making adjustments accordingly. So if you think about the week, you come into the week saying, this is my plan. I've set my intention of where I'm going to spend my time. You go through the week with integrity. You live up to your plan, and then you have that sense of productivity and accomplishment. Because tell me this, if you go into the week and you get a bunch of stuff done, but it wasn't really what you meant to do you feel productive? Not so much, right? And conversely, if you go into the week and you have the best plan in the world and you've color coded it and tabbed it and it's all bolded and underlined, and then you don't execute it, do you feel productive? Absolutely not, right? It's a both and, which is why we've set this equation up this way. So let's look at some examples of breakthrough alumni who have had the experience of really shifting their productivity cycle. Okay, so here's Carolyn. Carolyn said, when I was sitting down to do my week in review and schedule my next week, I had this shock because I had done everything I planned to do. And I had to pare down my expectations a bit to get there, but I finally did it. And I got to tell you guys, that woohoo at the end means everything to me, because that is a moment. Like, learning how to shape a week so that you actually have a prayer of executing it as planned is a big deal. It's a big deal. Tasha leverage one of the strategies that we teach around delegating and outsourcing. So for $40 investment, she came home having boxes packed up. They were doing a renovation in their house. Her daughter's birthday presents were wrapped. Lunch was made for the kids. Laundry was folded and dinner was in the crock pot. So leveraging the strategy of getting some help to do tasks that can be delegated or outsourced was a really big difference maker for her. Darcy was talking about having scheduled dedicated time on her calendar to do a task that's been nagging her for years. And guess what it was? It was dealing with email that she had let accumulate. And what she says, if you keep reading this note, is that she deleted 80,000 unread emails. 80,000 unread emails. How many of you would love to do a cleanup strategy in your email inbox and get a fresh start? Well, that's one of the things that she learned to do coming out of the Breakthrough Program. This is a great example of somebody who kind of, again, what gets scheduled gets done, put some time and energy against organizing the pantry. It was driving her crazy, but she even got her 4-year-old to help her organize the pantry and prep dinner. So this is a project that had been lagging that she finally got to the top of the list. Ellen, leveraging the same principle, was talking about starting a construction project in their house. And the key thing was booking the walkthrough with the designer. It's like sometimes just taking that one action step gets you unlocked and moving. Michelle was saying that she learned how to outsource a few things that she used to do herself, like outsourcing mowing the lawn and then ordering her groceries online and just picking them up rather than going to the store routinely throughout the week, which she even thinks saves her money because she's not doing any impulse buying in the store. And this is Sue, and I just love the line of, I've had the best week I can remember in a long time. And she goes on to kind of illustrate the examples of getting a lot done, feeling really present with her family, truly enjoying play and rest time that she was able to set aside. And it's like this cloud of doom is lifting, that was following her around of all the things that she should be doing, but didn't know how she was ever going to get done. And that, to me, that's the feeling, right, that we're trying to elicit through this work around productivity, is lifting that cloud of doom. Okay. And again, we could go on and on and on with examples here of people really tuning into this idea of what it means to have a plan with intention and to stick to that plan with integrity. Really learning how to find efficiencies, how to delegate and outsource more, and ultimately shape your life so that you're in control of your calendar, right? And it's not in control of you. So let's do another poll. Make sure you're all awake and with me. Which element of productivity do you want to improve? Is it A, intention? Or is it B, integrity? Or is it C, both? Speaking of water, right, and foundational balance practices, this is a lot of talking to do in an hour without any water. Excellent. Look at your answers. So it's amazing, isn't it, when you think about this framework of intention and integrity? Have you ever thought about it that way before? The productivity cycle being a combination of both. This is really an important pivot in the way you can think about getting more done, okay? All right, I'm going to keep this moving, and we're going to go to the third key. The third key to brilliant balance is that brilliantly balanced women celebrate possibility. Okay, so we talked about power and we talked about productivity. Now we're going to talk about possibility. So how would it feel if, on top of being productive and feeling really energized, you had clarity about your purpose? What would it feel like if you were following the path that you are really intended to take? And you were mending broken relationships and reconnecting with your dreams, the ones that you probably had before life got so crazy. And if you were working in the career that you're really meant to be in, how would that feel? Because that's a pretty clear picture of possibility, the state of living with a positive and an expansive view of what could be, and then growing toward it. Okay. When you're not living in possibility, you see the negative in every situation, right? You're constantly questioning whether you'll stay stuck where you are. You're wondering what happened to all those things that used to bring you joy, and you're kind of managing your current circumstances. You're not really designing your future. This is me in that picture in the bed with the mug raised above your head. It's the surrender moment of when you're not living in possibility, life feels like you're buried under it. Right? And when you make that shift and you live in possibility, you're really focused on the future and not the past, and maybe not even your current circumstances, right? Because you're giving yourself permission to dream. You're asking good questions like, what would have to be true for me to make that happen? For our life to look like that? You're transforming envy into inspiration. You're saying, I don't need to be jealous of her. I need to model what she's doing to go have those kind of results for myself, right? I'm inspired by that. You get yourself into an environment of people who are at the next level so you can mimic their behaviors and step toward that outcome. And when you're living in possibility, you adopt a growth mindset. So you stop saying like, well, maybe people like me just can't have things like that. And you start thinking about, how could I grow toward that? What would I have to learn? What would I have to change about my behavior to get to another state of being? Okay, possibilities are about crafting your future with intention. And this is probably some of the most exciting work that we do inside a breakthrough. It's some of the most exciting results that we get with women for sure. So I'm going to share a few of these with you like we've been doing. So this first example is from Adrina, and she was somebody who was grappling with, should she stay in a corporate job or should she turn her side hustle into her full-time job? And ultimately, she was able to take her Rodan & Fields business and turn it into her full-time job. And these results of, growing her team 200% and her sales by 300%, they gave her a platform where she was really able to pursue that particular dream. This is Carolyn. And I love Carolyn's story because Carolyn came into Breakthrough pretty sure she knew what her dream was. And she really thought she was going to go and be an RN. It had been a dream of hers for a long time. But as we went through the work and she followed the process that we were taking her through, it became clear that that really wasn't her dream. It really was no longer her purpose. It was something that she had thought about a long time ago that she thought would benefit her and her family, but ultimately it was a slightly different dream that needed to take shape. And she could see it clearly because she'd created the time and space to really think about it. And she had the support to go after the new dream, kind of the new and improved version of what that dream meant to her. And so she's off and running against that today with really renewed energy and excitement about what she's, what her career is going to look like. Karen is another person who had a major breakthrough around purpose. She really was like, I had this major breakthrough because this kind of small idea that I had for a journal that she was going to publish, a product that she was going to sell, the vision expanded, right? It was a bigger vision once she got a stronger sense of who she was. So there was this mindset shift that happened where she started seeing herself living in a bigger reality, a more exciting set of possibilities. And the plan started to evolve toward that vision, which is very exciting, right? When things start to expand again. Wendy is somebody who went through the program and was really stuck when she started. A job she didn't want to be in, doing like a lot of things in her life, not working the way she wanted them to be. And by 6 months later, she was in her dream job with a company that she truly loved. So that pace of acceleration, 6 months or less in some cases, to make the career shift that you might have been thinking about for a long time is not uncommon at all inside a breakthrough. And they're always really fun examples. This is Jessie, who is an entrepreneur. And Jessie is somebody who really had her arms around her business, but she was playing pretty small. And the big journey for her was scoping up what her company was capable of tackling. So first she had to see herself differently, and then she had to see the capability of her company differently to be able to escalate to these higher order clients. So she's saying here, like, I really struggled to even bid like a 5-figure job. It was really uncomfortable. And now she's getting 5- and 6-figure deals booked for her company regularly, and her team is growing. Like there's a much more expansive and taking shape. And I have to tell you, Karen is a teacher, a music teacher. And one of the great things about her is her vision also started to really take shape. So she was looking to have a second income that did not take her away from her son. She's a single parent with a great kid. And it was really important to her that she could expand her income, but not have to have additional time away from him. And I'll tell you what she's doing. She is teaching English as a second language to children in China. So guess what's cool about that? The time difference allows her to do it really early in the morning from home. So she loves doing it, like absolutely loves these kids, found the second income, and did not have to make any trade-offs in terms of the time she was spending with her son. So those are the kind of, openings that we're able to find our way to when we're working with somebody on what's really possible for them, right? What's the upside? This is Lauren. Lauren's an attorney, and she was working time, and she made the decision to reduce her work schedule from full-time to part-time so that she could invest in a business that she wanted to start. And she'd been waiting and waiting and waiting for the right time, and finally found this moment of inspiration to take action and give her notice that she was going to go to less than full-time. And we built a glide path for her to grow her business to replace that income that she was trading off by going less than full-time. Again, just like in the others, I could go on here for a long time telling you the stories of these women. Each one of them deserves to be told. They're extraordinary women, and lots of them are on our website. So at SherylAnnSkolnicki.com, there is a page that says Client Stories. All of these stories and more, including videos, are there if you're curious about more of the successes, because it makes me sad that I can't share all of them today. But we're so proud of each and every one of them as they've gone on these journeys with us. And I'll tell you that collectively, this is kind of the face of Brilliant Balance. To me, this is my why for getting up in the morning and looking at what are we going to do to serve these women and all the others like them who are coming into our world, right? Crossing paths with us and saying, I want to achieve these states in my life, right? I want to have my power source fully connected. I want to have my productivity skyrocketing. I want to be living in possibility. So my question for you is, When you think about possibilities, how would you rate your possibility mindset? Let's take a poll here too. A is needs a lot of work. I'm pretty stuck in a rut. I'm not dreaming anymore. B is it could be better. I can lose sight of my dreams in the day-to-day grind, but I know what they are. And C is my possibility mindset's good. Like I'm a visionary by nature and I'm steering towards something. So answer that one for me. Are you A, B, or C? Keep them coming. A, B, or C. Good. Thank you for playing along. It's fun to see the responses here. Good. So the key thing is whether you're really behind on this and it needs a lot of work, or you feel like it's coming along but it could be better, the only good answer here is I am living in a state of possibility. And if you're not living there, it is going to compromise so many of these other, your ability to really have the life that you want and live up to your highest and best potential. Because remember, that's sort of the pinnacle of the model. So if you look at these 3 keys, power comes first, right? You have to start there. If you don't get that power source firmly in place, you kind of can't advance. Productivity comes second. So you feel energized, you can get more done. And that allows you to look at possibilities and start to achieve your true and highest potential, right? You have to pass through those gates. Ultimately, brilliantly balanced women live up to their potential. And that's what I want for you. And that's what I hope you want for yourself. So today, as you listen to everything that I've shared with you today, you have a choice. We've covered a lot of ground. This is the model that we have seen over and over again with women we work with. I shared these 3 keys with you that you'll need to get into brilliant balance. So now you get to decide, what are you going to do with them? Are you going to hold those keys in your hand, or are you going to use them to really unlock your full potential? And you have 2 choices. That first choice is you go back to life as usual. And if we're honest with each other, and I hope we are, a lot of us have made this choice before, right? We've learned something new. We've said, oh, that's really interesting. We close the screen or the book or whatever, and we go back to life as usual. And this is where you're busy, busy, busy. You're meeting everyone's needs but your own. You're toughing it out. Like, I can make it. If I just get 2 more years, this one will be in school, or 2 more years and that one will be out of school, right? Depending on where you are in that cycle. Settling, never really knowing what's possible. And you're trying to do it all on your own. Like, I'm just going to dabble a little here and there and figure it all out on my own. And you can make this choice today, but I need you to know that it is a choice, because life doesn't have to be that way, right? There is another option. Choice number 2 is you make this your defining moment. You make today the day that you say, I've had enough, and I'm going to take control over my life, and I'm going to take control over my impact. Because the results that you've seen me share today, and all the ones I had to skip through, they are from people who had to make a choice to live differently. It didn't just happen. It's like they had a moment where they had to decide, am I going to bring in some help here so I can follow a proven process, right? So will you let this be just another day when you learn something that you kind of know in your gut important, but then you never apply it? Or will you make this the day that you say yes to yourself? I'll tell you how to make that decision, right, between choice 1 and choice 2. First criteria is speed to results. If you want to get there faster, then having mentorship from people with a proven roadmap to follow it's an accelerator, okay? If you want to be surrounded by people who have made this their life's work, my team and I, this is what we've devoted our professional lives to, is bringing this message into women's hands so they can get these kinds of changes. And if you want to do this in the company of other women who have done it for themselves and for others, that can be a massive accelerator. You can essentially get the results you want faster if you're in a supported environment than if you're trying to do it on your own. Is proven process. If you want to follow a proven process that leads predictably to these kind of results, then I have something that I'm going to share with you in a second. Okay. Now, if you want to spend your time inventing a process on your own, you can do that. But if you want to spend your time applying a process that already works, right? Instead of inventing one, then this is going to help you. But it really is your choice which one of those paths you want to take. They have very different timelines to success and very different levels of confidence in terms of your ability to get there. So here's what I have to offer for you. My team has set aside some time this week to connect live with you. There are two women, Courtney and Christine. If we have overflow, I may take a couple of calls as well, to schedule a 45-minute call one-on-one with a breakthrough advisor on my team. Okay. And what we do on that call is we map out the path forward for you to reach your goals. And if you want to do this work together, like if it turns out that we actually can help you get there faster, then we might invite you to become one of our clients. I will tell you that is invitation only for a reason. So this call is your opportunity to share your story and to ask us questions about how we do what we do so that you can get very clear about, is there a good fit? In the meantime, we're going to be asking you questions about exactly why you think you're stuck where you're stuck, right? What have you already tried? How important is this to you? Those kinds of questions so that we can make sure there's a good collaboration opportunity. So there's no guarantee that we're going to extend that invite, right? It's just not something we do for everybody. But if we are confident that we can help you, then we will tell you all about what it's like to work with us during that call so that you can decide if that's a choice you want to make. Okay. So the way to think about it is that hour that you'd spend with us could be highly leveraged. Like, honestly, it could change your life, right? It could be one of those pivot points where the before and after is actually measurable. But in order for it to work, you have to promise that you will be very honest with yourself and with us about what is not working, okay? And you have to be ready and willing to make changes because we can only do this with highly coachable people. Like if you come in and you're really committed to why your life is not working and there's a lot of victim going on about all the things that have happened to you, we just can't help, right? We need you to be able to take responsibility for what's not working and help us diagnose it. And then you've got to be ready to try some stuff because these results we shared today are possible for you, but you have to take different actions than you're taking today to get those outcomes. Does that make sense? Okay. These calls are for people who, if you're saying like, I don't know, maybe it's for me, maybe it's not, it's for you if you place a high value on your time and the results you want, right? If speed matters and results matter, you probably want to book one of these calls. This is for you if you want to be in a truly extraordinary community of women. Like the women who are in Breakthrough are amazing. And so, don't get into a worthiness battle with yourself right now of like, oh, maybe I can't hang. If you're on this call and you've gotten this far, you probably can hang, okay? But this is an extraordinary community of doers, of women who are like ready to go live their life to the fullest. And if you vibe with that kind of community and you know that that helps you bring out the best in yourself, then you want to make one of these calls, okay? If you value having personal guidance and mentorship from skilled coaches. So inside of Breakthrough, you work with me and you work with Amanda Hill, who's our other Breakthrough coach, really capable. And so if you want to have that kind of personal guidance and mentorship where you're getting direct help with what you want out of life, this is a good place for you. And you've got to be able to clearly see the return that you'll get on your investment in coaching. Like sometimes we say the juice has to be worth the squeeze, right? The thing you're going to get out of it, you've got to really value. You have to say like, that outcome I want, it matters to me because that's how you're going to get a return on your investment in coaching. Okay. The calls are not for you if you have the opposite of that. If you do not place a high value on your time, right? There is a time cost to a DIY approach. So if you don't place a high value on your time, it's probably not worth doing the call because you're probably not going to see the value in Breakthrough, right? If you're not willing to take responsibility for where you are in your life, we probably cannot help. If the changes you want to make are like really small tweaks, like little incremental things, that's probably not a good place. Like we do better when we've got something sub to help you with. If you just want little teensy tweaks, it might not be worth the call. And honestly, if you're more interested in staying stuck, and talking about things than you are in being decisive and actually taking action, then this call is not for you. Okay. So here's where we get to if it is for you. this is the link to schedule a call. I am also going to drop this link into chat. So I'm going to close my full screen here. Hold on. So that I can get back into chat and I can drop this link in for you. Cool. So you guys can see it on the screen. Just because I'm rolling solo today, you got to give me 1 second here. Where did my chat button go? Okay, you're going to see me now so that I can drop this in here for you, and you have a clickable link. This is the scheduling link so that if you want to book one of these calls, you know how to do it. And then the other link I'm going to drop in here is I promised you all that I would give you a special treat for staying until the end. So the second link is the Rebalancing Toolkit link, which is that special link, okay? So let me just give you one more word or two about the calls, and then you'll see over in chat the actual links to schedule. And if you can't see it, it's Sheryl-AnnSkolnicki.com/schedule. That will take you to the page where you can actually book the call, okay? When we get on a call, just another word or two about what happens. You'll be talking to one of my breakthrough advisors about your situation. So it's just a great place for you to be really honest about your story. We're actually going to ask you to prep a few questions in advance and to complete an application. So when you go to this schedule link, as soon as you find a time on our calendar, and the times that we have available should be in the next few days. And if they're all gone, like if you all jump on there right now to try to schedule, they might go quickly. I will try to open up more times if all of these times fill. Okay, so you can book your call, and then it's immediately going to take you to an application page. That is a required application. If you don't fill that application out, we will have to cancel the call. And I hate doing that because it tells me like you were excited and then you got distracted. So don't chase squirrels. If you book a call, make sure you complete the application. And if you can't complete it right away, like if you need, you have to go somewhere right now because it's 5 o'clock, that's okay. You have 12 hours to complete that application before we cancel. So you can do it later this evening, and you can even do it early tomorrow morning. Kind of, that's not really true because you might not be up at 5. So ideally do it this evening so we don't end up canceling that call for you. I hate it when that happens, but it's imperative that we have the application with you. So now that I'm back in chat actively, do you have any questions for me about booking a call, how to book a call, anything about what we've shared today? This is a time that I'm happy to take a couple of questions by chat if you have them. I will pay attention over there and see. You guys are great. Thank you for staying with me till the end. I will tell you, these calls are the moment when everything changes, right? For all of the women who you saw their results today, it started with a call. And so it's a great experience. We make it really fun. The women, Courtney and Christine, who take these calls for us are amazing. And they are like at my right and left hand. They know everything about how we do what we do. So they're really well equipped to answer questions for you and then to get you sorted to the right place. So we've got actually a couple of different programs that we can help you with. And sometimes it's not the right next thing in sequence, and we can give you some things to do between now and then so that you can circle back and be a part of Breakthrough at another date if it's not the right time for you now. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you grabbed your rebalancing toolkit from the link and also scheduled a call if you wanted to. And I look forward to seeing you back inside the Brilliant Balance group where we can serve you with all the content that we're sharing every single week. It was great having you today.